Good morning, everybody. How was your weekend? If I missed you on the show yesterday, we had a show yesterday morning. It was a great show, heartbreaking, but everything turned out good. It was a good show. I put a video up this morning. If you have time, go see it. Tell me what you think about it. It's about the twins in Ohio that were the subject of a very highly talked about Amber Alert, and well, one of them died over the weekend. So if you have time, go catch that. Let me know what you think. And I'm just going to take a second. Probably won't be the only time in the next couple weeks you'll be hearing about this. How about those Chiefs? OMG. Now, Eagles and 49ers, that bored the hell out of me, and I love Jalen. He's a former Sooner. I thought they were going to bring in the local middle school football team to finish off the Niners. I was just waiting on them to bus in some local high school, junior high, middle school. Woo, Chiefs Nation, we barely did it. I know some people are saying it was one call or we wouldn't have had it. I don't care. On to the Super Bowl. Dang. And I would love to be this mama this morning. Talk about having to quell some arguments. They're calling it Kels Bowl already because two brothers are going to be facing each other in the Super Bowl. That's never happened before. I really thought the Manning brothers would face each other. We had Rondé and Tiki Barber. Other brothers have played in the NFL. This is going to be something else. Summer Thunder said, "Go Eagles, go Eagles." What did JPL say? She said, "I love your reaction to the game, Brooks. I was probably the only person not watching the 49ers game." Well, probably the only one in California for sure, JPL. You were busy posting pictures of your bangs throughout the years. I got a big kick out of that. I had bangs too. I used to cut them myself. Boot Heel said a new meaning to sibling rivalry. For sure. Good morning, Izzy. Good morning. Jinbug said the Super Bowl is going to be in Glendale, Arizona at the Cardinal Stadium. Are you going, Jinbug? Because that would be awesome to go to. It's going to be a great game, I think. Seems like a lot of times the Super Bowl is just a shutdown. People are like, "Oh, I'm just here for the guacamole and the commercials." And some of them, I don't even show up for that. It's a toilet bowl. Not watching that. It's crazy. I know JTB's got to be in a great mood. Mama K said, "I don't have a dog in the race, so I'm going to claim the Chiefs for Brooks." I had to go to Walgreens on Saturday, and there was a guy behind me, and he had a Kansas City Royals hat on. And I said, "Well, I know who you root for baseball. You going to be watching the Chiefs tomorrow?" He said, "Well, that's where I'm from. I'm from Kansas City." So we were reminiscing, old Chiefs fans, about there was a time when you could roll into Kansas City any given Sunday home game, and they were begging people to go to the game. They were basically giving those tickets away. You go to the grocery store and they're like, "And with your purchase today, you also get 2 Chiefs tickets." It's not the case anymore when you get a winning team. Damn tickets are as much as my mortgage. Look at Kat. Kat said, "Okay, I'm Chiefs too." Look at that. Kat is part of the Chiefs Nation now. Thank you, Kat, for your support. We will let them know. Kat, how are you feeling? Kat's had strep throat. Christina has the flu. We have to check on our patients first before I slam LieLazys and Billie. LieLazys has me dying laughing. Kat said that in the Facebook group the other day, and I can't get it out of my head. Oh, several people were asking me about the thumbnail. They were like, did LieLazys drive a bus? I thought Billie worked for the Pipers Union or something. No, I just threw the school bus in there because Billie's name comes up a damn lot. I mean a lot. And I know, excuse my storm, we're in the middle of an ice storm. So when you hear those loud noises, we're actually in the middle of a thunderstorm as well. So this is going to be kind of touch and go today. Anyhow, so we get through that. I have to make sure it didn't wake up OJ. No, OJ is still dead to the world over there, sleeping under her Kansas City Chiefs blanket. She's a fan too. So anyway, the school bus in the thumbnail is because I think the bus is getting ready to get put in reverse, foot slowly off the gas, and it's gonna roll over Billie. I don't know how, but I really think they're going to take a page out of the Casey Anthony defense. I know Billie was not there that day, but somehow they're going to try to blame Billie. I just see it coming. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. I think there is a lot of evidence against LieLazys. Over the weekend, it came out that they have subpoenaed the records from Aspen Dental. Interesting. Now, this is the state doing this. And they also want journals, or as described in one article, diaries of LieLazys that Billie has. Now, I hope Billie has hung on to these since the state of Georgia wants them. And since we live in a digital world and everything is done on phone, laptop, pad, whatever, I'm just trying to picture LieLazys sitting there with her pen and her diary. What is this? Are you there, God? It's me, Leilani. I met a guy named Bubba at the water hole. Now I'm going to ghost my baby daddy. 7 weeks later, are you there, God? It's me, Leilani. For some reason, I don't have a period this month. It might be that guy from the swimming hole. Yeah, I'm dying to see what this idiot could have wrote down. Are you kidding me? The link is pinned. Come up here and let's talk about this. Don't be shy. If I get kicked out, I'll be back sometime because, like I said, this storm is really bad. I could go on all day long with what that imbecile could have put in some kind of notebook. Just Me said she doesn't seem the type to have a diary. No. And her mom does not seem to be the type to hang on to any mementos, like her playing Judy Blume for the day. So I'm going to be really surprised if Billie still has this stuff. Very surprised. Let's get to some comments, and then we're going to get to Are You There, God? It's me, Leilani. Dina Lynn said if people read her Facebook, she didn't even have one person on her side from any of this since day one. No friends, no family, and that tells a story in itself. For sure. For sure. I know the postpartum depression has been brought up several times. Untreated bipolar. I'm sure that went into the diary as well. When this all hit, October 5th of 2022, of course, I read the comments because it doesn't take long for people to come out that know people that are involved and have things to say. And right out of the chute, they were talking mad shit about Leilani. And it didn't take long for them to say, and Billie knows too. Billie knows she was not supposed to be left alone with those kids. And I'm sitting here going, who the hell's Billie? Who is Billie? Of course, we know who Billie is now. We know who Billie is now. Not one friend stood up for her. I think the very first show we did about LieLazys, the first babysitter before Diana, and we know how that all went down, was on here. His name was Jalen, not to be confused with Jalen Hurts, the quarterback for the Eagles. This is a totally different Jalen. Had some disgusting stuff to tell us about her. Disgusting. It was soon after his employment with LieLazys ended, that CPS became involved. And that was in the spring of 2021, I believe. It was before all of this went down. We're going to go through a timeline, though. Kamari likes that LieLazys. Thank Kat, because I could have died. Like, I literally had belly laughs when I saw Kat put that in there. LieLazys, and she is. Snazzy Trinket says, interesting procedures done. If minor or major, medications prescribed, drug seeking, possible comments made to staff, cancellations, rescheduled appointments. If a procedure was done, who was her driver? Was Quinton present at the appointment? If so, how did he appear? Act while in the care of driver. Known medication reactions and known reactions if mixed with street drug. Did LieLazys disclose any other medications she was taking, such as antibiotics, antidepressants, street drugs, history of LieLazys with this dentist? First seen, last seen, and all the in between. Exactly. They want these records from Aspen Dental for a plethora of reasons. I agree with Snazzy. Tarnia, thank you, my dear, for the super sticker. I appreciate it more than you know. Thank you so much, hun. Mama B had a theory. She said they could have found a bite mark on Quinton. Nothing would surprise me. Nothing would surprise me. It could also be getting ahead of the ball, if you know what I mean. Billie mentioned that LieLazys had had her wisdom teeth taken out. I didn't know Aspen Dental took out wisdom teeth, but anyway. But they want these for some reason, and I love how they did the warrants on a Friday. Well, that gives Billie the weekend to find the diaries, too. I hope she's on top of that. I really hope she didn't throw the diaries away. Jinbug said they're both liars. Now, here's the thing with that. They are. Hands down. They are both liars. That's why I'm wondering if these diaries even exist. Is this something that she told her defense? Well, I've got all these diaries journaling what was going on. And now the state's got to say, hey, we'd like to see those diaries. Billie, can you go through all the mementos you have of your murderous daughter and hand those over, please? She could be lying. She could definitely be lying. The Daydreaming Duchess said, sicko. She said she had met her friend for Oragel at the trailer park. Yes, she did. We know what she was doing at the trailer park, though. She was putting Quinton in the dumpster. Hello Kitty said if LieLazys was in so much pain, she had to get Oragel from Misty, in quotes, because Misty does not exist, because LieLazys has no friends. Misty, in quotes, at the trailer park, why didn't she let the sitter take care of the kids that day? Like she did when she is feeling just fine and just at home and not at work. What the F? Exactly. Why would you tell Diana to not come watch Quinton, Zane, and Sky that day? If you are in so much pain from your twofers that you had to supposedly meet your fake friend Misty at the trailer park to get fake Oragel, because we know it's a lie. We know what you were doing at the trailer park. Texas Brat said they don't even put you out to have wisdom teeth taken anymore. This is ridiculous. How can you blame a dental problem for killing your son and throwing them in the trash? Maybe she should have the JJ shown shut. Just saying, we have medical problems from having a baby, not wisdom teeth being pulled. Oh my God, oh my God. Well, this whole twofer problem came from Billie. Billie spent a lot of time on the YouTube streets trying to get ahead of the prosecution. It's not going to work. I'm going to cross cases here a little bit. Like, let's say today, an arrest is made in the case of Summer Wells, and let's say that the arrest is Candace. In my opinion, that's who it would be. They have a plethora of information to go through on social media by her husband, Don, who's been driving the train, steering the boat on social media about the disappearance of Summer. In this case, they have hours upon hours of Billie in chat saying what's going on, Billie on panels, Billie's own Facebook. So they already know what Billie was saying. There was one time Billie said, you do dumb shit when you're effed up. So they've got to get ahead of that. Mama B said, I was put out for my wisdom teeth removal. I was too. And if anybody said to me, we don't put you out for wisdom teeth removal anymore, I'd have been like, well, let me be the exception. Knock me out. I was out for when my wisdom teeth were taken out. So Billie has said, of course, we heard the whole bathtub thing. While Martha Stewart was in the kitchen making a hot home-cooked meal for the hardworking Danny, Danny was bathing Zane and Quinton. And as he got Zane out, which Zane is big enough to get out of the tub himself, but helicopter baby daddy, was getting Zane out. And in the process, Quinton, who also is old enough to get himself out of the bathtub, he sits up, he walks, he runs the whole 9 yards. He went under and he drowned really quick. That's what Billie tried to say. Then Billie tried to say that it had something to do with the wisdom teeth, the dental thing. So it could very well be the state saying, just get those records now. Let's get this out of the way. I think it's several reasons that they want those records, though. Several reasons. We got Boot Heel Sleuth backstage. Let's see what she's up to. What's up, Boot Heel?
Not a whole lot. Glad to see y'all this morning for sure.
Good.
This case just never ceases to amaze me. It doesn't. It just never ceases to amaze me at all. For the simple fact that, the whole everything that happened from, her making the call saying that her baby daddy come and got Quinton and this and that, and then, the manhunt for him and everything else, and all that time, that they wasted looking in other places like the house and stuff like that, which I understand I'm doing the crime scene at the house and stuff like that. But all that time they wasted, if she'd have just, went ahead and said the truth in the beginning, then I feel like we would have had a better chance of finding Quinton faster and things like that. But what I was going to ask was, I want to say I had heard somewhere through the YouTube streets that the incident that caused Quinton's death didn't Leilani bite him or something during that thing? Because there were supposedly people that were there or whatever, and they seen it happen.
I've never heard that she bit him. And the arrest affidavit, also we went through the 19 indictments. She's got 19 indictments against her. They said she beat him to death with an object.
Yeah, I remember seeing that, but I and to be honest, I want to say it was one of the circus clowns that was in Georgia that had said that, that, was saying things that they had been told about what had happened when Quinton lost his life. But that was the only thing I could figure out about with the dental records, possibly, unless they just need her DNA from her dental records, because maybe they might have found it.
I wouldn't be surprised if she did bite him. I wouldn't be surprised if they're not getting the records to prove that she's lying, that she went down to the dumpster to meet this fake person, Misty, and get fake Oragel. I have a feeling that none of that happened. There's no Misty. There was no Oragel. Let's look at the article real quick.
Okay.
It says the state of Georgia is seeking possible new evidence in the death of Savannah toddler whose mother is charged with his murder. Now, this is the state not her defense. If it was her defense, I'd be real fired up, and I'm already fired up about this. On Friday, the state subpoenaed Aspen Dental for its records pertaining to the dental treatment of LieLazys from October 1st to October 5th. LieLazys reported her 20-month-old son, Quinton, missing the morning of October 5th. There she is right there. That's going to talk about her indictment. Also subpoenaed were any journals, diaries, and other writings of LieLazys currently in the possession of her mother, Billie Jo Howell, who had custody of Quinton at the time he was reported missing. Aspen Dental was served Thursday, while Billie, who also uses the last name Betterton, was served earlier Friday. Now, in this article, they say custody. We've also heard permanent guardian. We've heard legal guardian. Any way you slice it up, we know which way it's headed. One way or another, I think Billie's going to get in trouble. Billie's name comes up all the time, and they never just say grandmother. They never just say grandmother Billie Howell or grandmother also known as Billie Betterton. They don't say that. They always put it in there. Who had custody at the time? Who was his legal guardian? Who was his permanent guardian? I think they're gearing up. I think the defense is going to somehow throw Billie into this mix, even though she was in Illinois. I think they are. And I think that once all the investigation is done and over, I think Billie is going to be in trouble. I do. I think Billie knows that she could definitely be in trouble, because if we look at this, on October 12th, when they had to go to family court, it was said the maternal grandmother has a permanent guardianship order as to the child Zane, pursuant to documents from juvenile court of Burke County. The maternal grandmother failed to provide adequate supervision for the child Zane. Now, this is when she lost custody of Zane.
Yeah.
Supervision for the child Zane by leaving the child Zane in the home and in the care of the mother, a person the maternal grandmother knew or should have known was unfit to provide proper care while the maternal grandmother traveled out of state. So that was said October 12th, and she still continued to lie and say, oh, this was just a civil agreement between me and LieLazys. Well, no, it's not, because there is documentation in Burke County saying she's unfit. The state wouldn't have anything in black and white if this was just some pinky promise between her and her daughter. Kat said, knew or should have known. That's exactly the problem. That's exactly the problem. She's not going to not get in trouble. She knew it. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, yeah, she's definitely going to get something out of this, because, I mean, for one, very seldom do you hear, I know for me, my personal knowledge, very seldom do you really hear of in cases like this with them going back and arresting the grandmother for the contempt thing. To be honest, I think that's the first one I've heard about them doing. And then now, she's, they're going to hit her with something. And I pray to God they hit them both with a federal case. I feel like LieLazys should get a federal case anyway, because she tampered with a corpse and things like that. But
we don't know that. He could have been alive when she put him in the dumpster, hun.
Oh, yeah.
Sure yeah, enough. We don't know that. And as far as them wasting their time in the house, they had to go through the house. The house is the crime scene. That's where she beat him to death.
Right.
I think when the FBI got there on that Sunday, he went missing on the 5th. I believe that was a Wednesday.
Yeah.
The FBI, I think it was like 40 agents that got there on Sunday. On Monday, it was go time. They drained that pool. They already knew the rumors. They already knew what Billie was saying. They drained that pool. They taped off the house. People say they were spraying luminol in there. I'm sure they were.
Yeah.
They had everything taped off. They were inside. That was on Tuesday. Then on Thursday, the chief did his press conference, and he said, we have reason to believe Quinton is deceased. We have reason to believe his mother did it. She's our prime suspect. Now, people's minds exploded and said, well, go ahead and arrest her already. They didn't have enough to arrest her. They had a good idea, but they didn't have enough to arrest her.
Right.
And the DA, it seems to me that she's a DA that wants to be extra cautious and wanted to make sure she had Quinton, because they had that search extended with the agents in Quantico up until December 9th. They didn't need till December 9th. And when she gave her press conference, she said, we can now go forward to get justice for Quinton because Quinton has been found. That's what they were waiting on. She heads the investigation. She's the DA. She wanted Quinton.
Yeah. And I mean, you got to think too, the shape he was in when they did find him, that's just, you could see the aggravation and the anger on the DA's face whenever she was giving that press conference about it and reading the indictments and stuff, because it's just uncalled for. But so, I know that what did you hear about whenever she put Quinton in the dumpster though, how she got out and then she sat there for a few minutes or whatever and then she left. So I'm wondering if he was indeed still with us at that time.
I've wondered myself. I hate to even think about it. Yeah. I don't remember seeing anything in the charging documents saying that she sat there, but I've heard rumors.
Yeah.
You know how rumors are and how I am with those, that she actually sat there and she waited for Waste Management to come get the dumpster. Let's see here. Snazzy, thank you for the super sticker. She said legal custody must have been obtained in order for child support to be awarded. Exactly.
Yeah.
Endangerment resulting in death is what Billie should be charged with. 100%. Billie was so worried about her reputation online to internet strangers that she kept on saying, oh, this was just civil between us. We have seen document after document after document saying she's the legal guardian. She has permanent guardianship. She has custody. She was awarded child support. But she ignores the fact that the state of Georgia was very much involved in the way she runs her household. She even knew before they found Quinton that she could possibly go to jail. This is a screenshot of her talking to a friend of hers. It doesn't matter who the friend is. And she said, I want LieLazys and Danny to go to jail. Now, Danny hightailed it out of town. Danny,
we still ain't heard from him.
No, you're not going to until it's trial time. He's probably state's witness.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he witnessed this, but both him and Paul were in the house. How did they not know something was going on? Are they just so used to her beating on those kids that they didn't get up?
Well, I mean, you got to think DFAX was involved in, them kids' upbringing, like LieLazys, I believe, because of, state was involved in their raising too, I believe.
And that was a really interesting comment I had, and I've got to go back and find who put it. They said, remember, it's not just going to be the DFAX documents for Quinton, Zane, Sky. It mentions Billie. They could actually wind up getting DFAX documents from when LieLazys was growing up. They're going to wind up throwing Billie into this mix somehow. Because they're not stupid. Her defense is looking at social media. They know. Hell, they can see this thumbnail where it's got Billie. You got Billie on a ton of my thumbnails. They know that social media, the court of public opinion, people have a very strong disdain for Billie, and they would like to see her charged somehow.
Yeah. She needs it. I mean, I honest to God believe that they truly are going to make an example of how you should be as a parent and how you should not be as a parent. And this is definitely not how you should be as a parent from the perspective of Billie Joe upbringing her kids, LieLazys, all them. I mean, she said herself, she, had 2 murderers. I mean, what was the reason for that? I mean, did they not have a good lifestyle? Did they want to, go a different route? Or was it what they witnessed as children growing up that made them turn into what they turned into?
I would love to know that. And I have a sick feeling in the pit of my stomach that the 2 murderers and the toxic environment they grew up in is going to be somehow try to be part of that defense. I can
guarantee it will be, because the defense is going to pull every card they got to just to make sure that the jury hits them with and the judge hits them with the maximum punishment that there is. I can almost guarantee it.
And what makes me sick is we have so many people in this community. I have two very good friends that are raising their grandchildren right now. But Billie, and what she has done here is the reason that so many departments, whether you call it Department of Human Services, Child Protective Services, DFACS, they're shying away from kinship adoptions.
Yeah.
Not adoptions, kinship placement.
Guardianship.
Because they are so tired of the grandparents letting the abusive parent back around the child. They have trusted that too many times just for the grandparent. Like in this situation, hell, she had LieLazys living with her.
And was trying to kick her out, but we didn't hear nothing else about the eviction after Quinton went missing, which still aggravates me. You know, they was so hell-bent on getting LieLazys and Danny and them out of there, you know, before Quinton went missing. But when Quinton went missing, it was like her and LieLazys was hip buddies and everything else, party buddies, and wasn't, you know, a waking moment without them being around each other. And then they go and put that little scene on with the fake tears, and yeah, they just...
Well, and Billie knows that her goose could be cooked. She knows she can get in trouble because this is her texting a friend of hers, and she says, I want LieLazys and Danny to go to jail, even if it means I go to jail. Well, she may not have been totally, she knows it. She knows it because her friend even knows it. Her friend says, you aren't going to jail. If you did, it wouldn't be that long, though, and I better be on your list. Now, if a friend of mine said, even if I go to jail, I'd be like, girl, you're not going to jail. What the hell would you go to jail for? Right. But not this friend. Well, if you did, it wouldn't be too long. It wouldn't be too long.
I bet you they give LieLazys the maximum sentence, and they gonna give Billie Joe no less than the lower end, which is probably at least 25. I'm not sure exactly what the sentence is for murder or whatever, accessory or anything like that. In Georgia, I'd have to look back at it, but I don't see them giving her no less than the minimum. They are going to make an example.
I don't think with LieLazys and the death of Quinton Simon and these investigators, the chief, the DA, I don't think any minimum is going to be even considered. They've charged her with malice. She's got 19 felonies. She'll never see the light of day. The only thing that she could get is maybe get it down to like a second-degree murder or something.
She going to get manslaughter or is it manslaughter or is it murder? Would it be murder one, possibly?
Well, she has malice murder right now. That's what she's charged with. But she's got 19 felonies. So the difference is she's never going to see the light of day. The only difference for LieLazys is going to be 23 hours a day in a cell, or does she get to go to general population and she gets to use the library and she gets to work in the laundromat? Either way, she's never going to be out of jail. I have a feeling it's going to be 23 hours a day, 1 hour with a sliver of soap and a squirt of cold water, and possibly she gets to go outside and get some sunshine every now and then.
And if it does come out determined that baby Q was deceased at the time that she disposed of him or whatever, then she'll go federal, and she'll have a field day in there. It's nothing like the bells and whistles.
Why do you
don't think it will?
Why do you say it would go federal? Lots of people get charged with tampering with the corpse, and it's not anything more than a state.
I thought that they had made it where that was a federal offense.
I mean, I guess if they want to, she's already got 19 felonies on her. What's one more? And if it's federal, life is life. She's still not going to see the outside of a prison.
True. And what was I was going to say too about the I'll think of it here in a minute.
Well, then this was in an article. I mean, everybody seems to be on the same page when it comes to Billie. It says, but the Division of Family and Children's Services in Chatham County, Georgia, so it's DFACS, found she had failed to provide adequate supervision, and the children have since been placed in foster care. Yeah. Now, she did not have guardianship, custody, however you want to say it, of Sky, the newborn baby. but she had it of Zane. So when she showed up on the 12th of October, she was stripped of that. He's in foster care. And this was the reason why. Because by leaving Quinton and Zane with Leilani, she failed to provide adequate supervision. I think there's charges coming for Billie someday.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, and I know what I was going to say. All the the babysitter and stuff like that. She ran up in that babysitter's house and showed her tail, like it wasn't nothing to do that. And I mean, I back the babysitter, I do. And she's a sweet lady. I mean, she invites me to her lives and everything else on TikTok and stuff like that. But she I had asked her one day while I was in her live or whatever. I was like, did you ever get asked if possibly you wanted to take on guardianship or custody of those babies? And she said no. But it seems like if she was having to watch them as much as she did, I don't, that's one thing I don't understand. They'll give it to the grandparents or whatever who will leave the children in harm's way, knowing they shouldn't. But I don't understand why they wouldn't have asked her to, take on guardianship of them or whatever. Maybe that wouldn't have happened. Who knows? But yeah.
Did she volunteer? I mean, I could see her not getting guardianship after Quinton disappeared because she's a witness in the case.
Right. She did say that she did not volunteer or anything like that, but I was just, thinking, well, she does love Quinton. She's got pictures of him up and everything in her home. Every day he's still mentioned in her home. So,
I mean, because they don't go door to door and say, hey, they don't cold call people. So, I mean, unless she got a hold of them and said, listen, there's this problem going on down there. I know she had mentioned belt marks, which could have possibly not been belt marks because the kids weren't taken out of the home. Leilani living there and CPS being told she lives there. I don't see how Zane and Quinton stayed in the home. I'm just going to guess CPS didn't know and that they really weren't called all the times people say they were. That's right. My guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and Zane or baby Sky, and see, that's another thing that has me puzzled, Brooks, is baby Sky. Danny's off in Neverland somewhere. God only knows where. But why has he or anyone in his family not petitioned for custody of that baby?
I don't know if they have or haven't because that wouldn't be a public record. And I mean, all Danny's doing is laying on his mom's couch in North Carolina. I would think by now him and his mom would have done something. I mean, to get Sky out of foster care. Right. But I don't know. The only way we would know is if all of a sudden, on Facebook, they were like, oh, Sky's back with us because it's not a public record.
Right. I mean, the record's not public, but you would be able to look and see if there was a defects thing or whatever open, couldn't you?
Not that I know of.
Oh. I might dig on that later. I might.
And, you brought up the eviction. Now, yes. Billie says she wasn't trying to get rid of the kids, but this is her own handwriting. Let me put my glasses on. She says, not looking to be compensated, just want them to move out as quick as possible. LieLazys is my daughter, 22 years old, with her boyfriend and 3 kids. They have damaged my property, and at this point, no one is living in peace. Not looking to be compensated, just want them to move out as quick as possible. Now, as soon as this happened with Quinton, she could have made some moves to keep Sky. It wouldn't have worked because she left LieLazys alone with the kids, and she knew she wasn't supposed to. It wasn't Danny's job to make sure Leilani doesn't kill Quinton, even though he should have had an eye on her. Wasn't Paul's legal job, even though I think that he should have kept an eye on things because he knew shit was going down. He knew there was a problem with his sister. Everybody knew there was a reason that Billie was the legal guardian. Billie was the permanent guardian. Billie had custody. She says, oh, no, I didn't want the kids gone, just LieLazys and Danny. Well, this is her handwriting, dude. This is her handwriting. She wanted them gone. She said, nobody's living in peace. And this is with having custody of Zane and Quinton. I guess she forgot that part. So to her, she wrote this down. To her, those kids and having custody was an afterthought. She really thought it could just be that simple. Just get the hell out of my house. Now, after all this went down, why did she not push forward for that eviction? Why did she let LieLazys live there? Because Danny, he hightailed it to Hotlanta. He was playing pool with his friends. Then he went to his mama's house in North Carolina. He got the hell out of there. I don't blame him, but I wouldn't have left my daughter behind. I would have grabbed my daughter and been gone.
Right. And see, that still puzzled me. Why did he leave her behind? I mean, it's almost like we should have filed a missing person on him too. For real.
Why did he leave his daughter behind? As far as I know, Sky's last name is Youngkin, which would mean he's on the birth certificate.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I get so sick of that birth certificate bingo in these cases. Well, this one's not on the birth certificate. You got to be on the birth certificate. Dads have rights. This has been going on since October 5th. Why doesn't he have his daughter? Is he a piece of shit too?
Obviously. I mean, that's just my opinion there, but yeah, he's raising that POS bucket as well, because like you said, why didn't he take the baby and hightail it? He didn't have to leave that baby. Hell, he didn't have to leave Sky and Zane. I mean, he probably already knew that whenever, it was come down to him getting called from work or whatever, and that baby wasn't there, that would have been the first thing I did was grab my kid and any other surviving kid and been gone. Honestly.
Why didn't Zane's dad, Cody, show up at the door October 6th or the afternoon of the 5th when all this broke? Knock, knock, daddy's here. I understand that you guys can't find Quinton. Well, I don't want that to happen to my son, so I'm going to take him.
Right.
I'm going to take my son. So you got two. Danny, you've got two boys in foster care and two daddies. Where are they? Go get your kids. Go get your kids. Let's go through the timeline of what led up, what was going on before Quinton disappeared. That might help because I know we have some new people in here to this case.
Yeah.
Have scoured the area around his home with dogs, drones, by land, by air. WSAB's lead investigative reporter Brett Buffington has been following the story from day one. Tonight, he breaks down the timeline of the case.
At just 20 months old, Quinton Simon hasn't been seen for 60 hours. In those moments, we have told you a lot about the search to find him. But to tell you about the environment he was living in, we have to back up weeks. September 7th, police were called to Quinton's grandparents' home, where Quinton, his mother, her boyfriend, two other children, and the grandparents live. There was a fight, this police report says, between Quinton's mom, LieLazys Simon, and her mother, Billie Jo Howell. LieLazys called the cops on her mom. When officers showed up, she told them she was on probation and didn't want trouble. We don't know what that probation is for. The report says when police officers talked with LieLazys' brother, he told them that Quinton's mom had a history of stealing and used the money to buy drugs. A day later, September 8th, Billie Jo Howell wanted her daughter and her daughter's boyfriend out. She filed for eviction. According to the document, she didn't want any money. She just wanted her 22-year-old daughter, LieLazys, her boyfriend, Daniel Youngkin, and the three kids to leave.
Exactly. They even had it on the news. She wanted LieLazys, her boyfriend, and the three kids to leave. Billie could not, in her mind, have really thought with the state of Georgia involved, that this was a civil agreement between her and LieLazys. I don't think there was any civil agreement. I think when DFACS got involved after the first babysitter, and man, the stuff he told me about these people made my skin crawl. How can you put that in writing? This is all going to be brought up at the trial.
Mm-hmm.
Your mom was trying to evict you. Now she says, oh, I didn't want the kids to leave. Then she comes back and says, Oh, well, I just did that to light a fire under Leilani so she'd start acting right. No chains, no more, said Billie Joe is culpable. Yes, she is. And I feel bad that I'm so hard on Billie because I know LieLazys is the one that murdered Quinton. I do think that if Billie had done what she was put in charge of doing, which is being the custodian
Mhm.
over Zane and Quinton, I think Quinton would be alive. I think
Right.
Quinton would be alive. We all have to work. Just because she had to go out of town and work doesn't make it any different. Whether you go to work at 8 o'clock and show back up at home at 5, or you have to be gone for a couple of weeks, you still have to make sure that the kids are well taken care of.
Right.
Letting Diana dump them off because she's got church that night or whatever the hell was going on is not taken care. Is not taken care. Indie Girl said she was ordered to be his protector. Yes, she was, and she didn't do it.
Mm-mm.
She didn't do it. Instead, she got drunk and got all over YouTube trying to get sympathy for herself. That's it. Trying
She
to
was
get
being a tragedy pimp.
for herself.
Yeah, for herself.
Tarnia said, Brooks, I agree. Oh, thank you, Tarnia. And thank you for the super sticker. I really think something's going to have to happen with her.
Yeah.
I really think something's going to, and I really do think it will. I think it's going to, obviously the more pressing matter is the murder of Quinton Simon. I think they're going to get to that and then to Billie, but I don't know.
Quickly, here's where the grandmother wrote it. They damaged her property, and no one is living in peace. September 16th, LieLazys and Daniel found out about the eviction, but we now know as recently as last Wednesday, the two were still living here. That gets us to Wednesday, the morning little Quinton was last seen. At 5:29 a.m., babysitter Diana McCarta got a text message. She told us it was from Quinton's mom, saying Diana didn't have to watch the kids today. Police told us the boyfriend, who we now know is Daniel Youngkin. Police say that's the last time Quinton was seen. 9 a.m., another text message to babysitter Diana, this time from a grandparent, asking if Diana had seen the toddler. The 911 call 42 minutes later at 9:42 a.m. The WSAV investigative unit has asked Chatham County Police for that call. So far, they haven't answered our request. We know from the family, LieLazys told police that Quinton's father took the child. The family said that story didn't make sense. And by 2:30 that afternoon,
Yeah, her own family said that doesn't make sense. None of her baby daddies want to have anything to do with their own children. It was out of the realm of possibility. And this too, Snazzy, you're right. Thank you for the super sticker. Taking donations for funeral services and Amazon wish list. Just sickening.
Mhm.
Where's that money now? Where is that money for the funeral? Where is it? You took money for a funeral. Where's that money?
Right.
I have a feeling that the remains won't go to Billie anyway. She's not the first of kin. She was at one time. Her rights were stripped back in October 12th. They made Bubba do a paternity test. Maury says, You're the father. You're the father. That's going to go to Bubba. Quinton's remains, when all this is said and done, will go to Bubba. Now, I hope Bubba knows that the state of Georgia has a victims' compensation fund that will take care of little baby Quinton.
Right.
Because Billie that money's gone.
police said the father wasn't involved. By Wednesday night, the effort to find Quinton involved the FBI, 2 helicopters, a drone, police on horses, tracking dogs, and officers going door to door. Thursday, we watched federal agents search dumpsters, ditches, drain pipes, and the woods. Brett Buffington, WSAV News 3.
And we know where we're at now because November 18th, they found Quinton's remains in the landfill, which to me is still one of the most horrific things I have ever seen. Not his remains. I haven't seen his remains, but that they had agents, federal agents from Quantico, Virginia, going through garbage out in Savannah, Georgia, in the heat, wearing protective gear. This tweet right here, it says, it is also dangerous and searchers are exposed to numerous and very real health and safety hazards. Every minute that they are working to help maintain the health of the search team. They will be standing down for 2 days after their landfill shift ends late this afternoon. Now, people came unglued about the searchers having to mentally and physically regroup for a couple of days a week and then go back to searching. I really don't understand why people were so upset about that. I did hear a few people going, I have a landfill by my house. It's not a big deal. Well, it is a big deal. It is a big deal. During the Lori hacking search, there was one guy, his PPE failed. And like to this day, he still has a bloodborne disease that he got from doing that landfill search. It is horrible. It is horrible to think and then could you imagine being the person that came across something you don't really know what it is and you take it over to the table and they're like, this is part of Quinton.
Right.
It's not like you saw a whole baby Quinton out there.
And they only found partial remains. They didn't find full remains. They only found partial remains, it was said.
That's exactly what I just said. Yeah. They have partial remains. Partial remains. Because they even asked, are you going to go back out and try to, and they said, well, we'll discuss that later. Yeah. And I think when they found out that what they had was Quinton, they already knew they had a less than 5% chance of even finding partial remains. They knew that there was no point in going back out there. Barb Murray said the picture of the remains with the American flag was a fraud. Yes, it was. Mm-hmm. Billie put that out there and she said, those are Quinton's remains. It got spread everywhere. People got mad. If you said that's not Quinton, they still don't have Quinton's remains. It is horrible. And now we're getting the Aspen dental records. The state wants them. Let's just take a poll. What do you think the state wants with the Aspen dental records? Do you think it has to do with medication? Maybe a bite mark on Quinton? Bite mark on Zane? We haven't even thought about. Zane could have undergone some abuse as well. Oh, we got Jules backstage. Then we have the Are You There, God? It's Me, LieLazys journals. What's going on, Jules?
Hey, trying to make it through this live.
I know. I'm so sorry, hun.
Go ahead. Keep talking. I lost my train of thought.
That's okay.
I was going to point this out, Brooks. You know, when they said that the babysitter received a text at 9 a.m. from the grandmother, mm-hmm. Why didn't Billie Dodo go ahead and call the law enforcement before calling? That would have been my first thing. Would have been like, I wouldn't have been calling nobody but law enforcement to find out, the is, the ands, or what's, or whatever, because, they'd already got the text for the 5:30 that morning saying that she wasn't going to be needed. And that's when Diana said that she wanted to go over there and find out what was going on when she received that text. But why didn't LieLazys call her? Why did it take Billie Joe? And that right there, me saying that gives me reason to believe that Billie Dodo knew a whole lot more prior to whenever she released that message talking about he was in the landfill and that Layla.
Well, I'm not taking up for Billie at all, but Diana received that text and it's up in the air as to really who sent the text. It came from Danny's phone. From what I'm understanding, Danny, you could have knocked him over with a feather when he found out he sent that text. He wasn't aware that that was sent from his phone. Again, that's just a rumor. So then also Diana gets a text from Danny, I believe, I'd have to go back and look, saying, have you seen Quinton? We can't find Quinton. Diana gets a hold of Billie saying, I don't know what the hell's going on over there. Now, by the time Billie had gotten back with Diana, and like I said, this is all hearsay. This is not anything in the court record.
Yeah.
By then, Diana had already convinced these two idiots to call 911. So Billie wouldn't have had a chance. Diana had already, and Diana took Zane back home with her because she said they had a lot going on.
Okay, I remembered. I was going to say about them getting her dental records. Didn't Diana say that she had pictures and marks and stuff of marks on the kids? Maybe she has a bite mark picture.
Oh yeah, she did.
Yes.
I forgot because I was so fixated on the belt marks that she was talking about, and then she said, well, it may not have been belt marks, but with all the different pictures she has and she turned over, there could have been something. They said, let's see if she bit him. Yeah, she did. Great point.
That's all I wanted to say. I'm gonna hop down because this one's a hard one for me.
It's horrible.
Okay, I'll see y'all guys later.
All right, bye, hun.
Bye, Jules.
Okay, love y'all. Bye.
Love you too. And here's another thing too, Brooks. The bite mark, would they have even had a way to tell if there was a bite mark on him from the landfill?
That's what I don't know, because when they say remains, I don't know exactly what they recovered.
Yeah, it's like one lady just says unfathomable. The main word unfathomable is just unbelievable. And if she did put that baby in there and he was not deceased, I pray every time she opens her eyes, every time she closes her eyes, all she can do is envision a trash truck and the damage it can do, because that is just so cruel to do that.
Well, she's been charged with everything that you can think of. She's been charged. They have 19. Let's look at it. They have 19 on her, but they didn't charge her with that. That kind of tells me that they don't know if he was alive or not. Let's look at it. Hang on.
Jury indicted LieLazys Simon with 19 counts in the disappearance and death of her son, Quinton Simon.
The 21-year-old went missing 70 days ago. This happened in October. And our Andy Cole takes us through the evidence prosecutors say points to his mother as the accused killer.
On Wednesday, Chatham County's District Attorney, Shalina Cook-Jones, announced a grand jury indicted 23-year-old LieLazys Simon on 19 different counts for the death of her toddler son, Quinton Simon.
These are the cases that keep us up at night. These are the cases that deserve justice.
The 8-page indictment says that on October 5th, the day Quinton was reported missing, LieLazys Simon intentionally beat little Quinton with an object, ultimately killing him. From the beginning of the investigation, the indictment says LieLazys lied to investigators time and time again. LieLazys first lied when she implied to investigators that Quinton had been abducted. LieLazys later lied and said she went to a Chatham County trailer park early on October 5th to meet a friend. In the indictment, LieLazys did admit to dumping something at the trailer park, but she lied and said she was throwing away household garbage. According to the indictment, she actually threw Quinton's body into one of these dumpsters.
Heinous.
Very.
She is horrible. She goes there, she meets somebody by the dumpster to get Oragel. My first question would have been, okay, so you have friends? I find that hard to believe. How come your friend couldn't drive the extra 3/4 of a mile to bring it to your front door? Why'd you have to meet by the dumpster? Oh, well, no, I didn't need to get any Oragel. I just had to throw away trash from the house. Oh, really? At 5:30 in the morning? You have a trash container right next to your garage door. Why didn't you put it in there? Please don't tell me that it was shitty diapers that you couldn't stand to smell from outside. No. And they said they know that she put Quinton in there. Like I said, she's charged with everything else. I think they don't know if Quinton was dead or alive when she put him in there, because they would certainly charge her with tampering with a corpse. Why not? They've charged her with everything else. I mean, every lie she told is a felony.
Just trash. Court documents say LieLazys told investigators she doesn't remember that. 23-year-old Simon tried to blame her then boyfriend, Daniel Youngkin. The indictment says she lied.
We'll get to that in a second. Now, do you remember, I don't know how much you followed the case. I'm going to ask everybody in chat as well, of course. When she said that she never said she didn't remember, she said the FBI told her she didn't remember. Now we hear the court documents that said they confronted her with all this stuff and she said she didn't remember. But she remembered enough to make up lies to put her outside the dumpster. She knew being outside that dumpster had her dead to nuts.
Right.
She said the FBI told her she didn't remember. No. And then Billie's going around telling people they said she done it, but she doesn't remember. That's her. That's her saying, oh, I don't remember that. But yet, see, she makes herself so guilty because she has all these excuses for being by that dumpster the morning of Quinton going missing. Oragel, I had to throw away trash from inside the house, as if she's Miss Spick and Span. Did she put that in her diary? Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. LieLazys, also known as LieLazys. I have beaten Quinton with an object. I don't know what to do with him. This is crazy. No. So we have Oragel and a fake friend named Misty. And we have household trash. She knew what she was doing there. She knew what she was doing there, or she wouldn't have made up a lie. She wouldn't have lied in the first place. Then she tried to blame it on Danny. I have a feeling when they went to their interrogations on that Thursday, because Tommy Howell, the stepdad or Facebook husband of Billie, whatever you want to call him, was surprised when they showed back up. He figured they would be arrested when they went there for their interrogation. He said that. I was surprised when they came back in.
Right.
I think when they had them separated, because they're not going to interrogate him together, I think when they told Danny, you know that she's trying to blame this on you right now. She's in the next room trying to blame you. Then what do we see? On Twitter, playing pool with these buddies in Hotlanta. Losers. Freaking losers.
Saying Daniel left their Buckhalter Road home that October morning. Just a day before Quinton was allegedly killed, the indictment says LieLazys met with her drug dealer. She told investigators she was paying off a drug debt, but that too was a lie. According to the indictment, she later lied about being high on an unidentified drug on October 4th, just hours before Quinton's death. District Attorney Cook Jones.
Okay, and there it is. I got to go back just a little bit. She did. It's in the indictment. She said she was high on an unidentified drug. She had her wisdom teeth taken out. So they're going to try to. They want to see what that dentist gave her. Plus, they could have found bite marks. Jules mentioned all the pictures that Diana had. There's a lot going on here, my friends.
According to the indictment, she later lied about being high on an unidentified drug on October 4th, just hours before Quinton's death.
And she had used controlled substances. Controlled, obviously, as we all know, would be something prescribed by a doctor. So they're going to have to get a hold of for sure what they gave her at that dentist. It doesn't matter. I don't care if they gave her fentanyl. Nothing's going to make you beat your child with an object and put him in a dumpster. Get real.
District Attorney Cook Jones is confident in the charges because of the tireless work of local and federal investigators.
These men and women worked very long hours, turning shifts for 6 weeks straight, working tirelessly and would not quit until Quinton's body was found. Were it not for their tireless efforts, we would not have been able to take the first step on the long road to justice as we have today.
In Chatham County, I'm Andy Cole, WJCL.
And when the DA said this, had it not been for their tireless efforts, we would not have been able to take this first step. Meaning, had it not been for the searchers finding Quinton, we wouldn't be where we are right now. I think eventually this DA would have charged without a body, but that wasn't what she wanted to do. Sam said, nope. As I said, I had my wisdom teeth taken out, came home and took care of my kids, even through the discomfort, because my kids come first. Same, my friend. Same.
Mm-hmm.
And my kids were eating my milkshakes.
Whenever it said that she was under the influence, she had also stated that Leilani also stated that she had went there to meet her drug dealer. So that right there was, to me, was proof enough that she was admitting that she was under the influence. But I don't care. I just don't. And I don't understand how people can say, well, they were under the influence. They were this, they were that. I know tons, hundreds, millions of people who've been under the influence and never acted as stupid as these people do. And use that excuse, saying it was the drug that made them do it. No, y'all did it yourself. It wasn't the drug. Y'all made a choice to do it. Because you got a choice whether or not to murder or things like that. And it's just nonsense.
Yeah, I don't care if Aspen Dental gave her bath salts.
Right.
She knows what she did. That's the reason she was making lies up. She knew that she made a conscious decision to drive to that dumpster and dispose of little baby Quinton. Whether he was dead or he was alive, she knew it. She was well enough aware that she had to hide what she had done. Then when confronted, hey, LieLazys, see that you were up early the morning that your son went missing. See that you went to the trailer park. See that you were outside of the dumpster. What was going on? See, by that time, they had already been to the trailer park and they had gotten the camera. They already knew. Oh, I had to meet my friend Misty to get some Oragel. There's nobody named Misty. You don't know anybody named Misty. You made that shit up. Oh, no, I forgot. There was a bunch of trash inside the house I had to take down there and throw away. Oh, really? You have an empty container right outside of your garage door. What was wrong with it? Why did you have to use the dumpster? What were you doing?
Right.
Throwing away a 72-inch TV at 5:30 in the morning? What were you doing? Why did you need a dumpster? Why did you sit outside said dumpster and make sure that that dumpster got picked up? You knew when that dumpster gets picked up, which makes me almost think this is premeditated. She used to live in that trailer park. What were the odds that they were going to pick up a few hours after, a few minutes, really, after she put Quinton in there?
Well, and her mother, Billie Dodo even said that she was a habitual liar. Didn't know whether to trust her or what. I mean, I feel like whenever they did that interview, her and Tommy or whatever, Billie Dodo knew then that Leilani had done something to him.
Mm-hmm. Pale Rider said it was trash day in her neighborhood, but she had to have the dumpster. She had the dumpster. She went to the dumpster. Does she know that the dumpsters go straight to the landfill? They don't go to any trash holding facility? What did she know? Is it premeditated? I don't know. And you know what? Do you know how bad you would feel about yourself? Besides it being your own mama, having one of the biggest liars that the devil ever shit onto this earth, calling you a liar. There's Billie going, sometimes she does real good, sometimes she does real bad, but you left her with Zane and Quinton and Sky. She couldn't do anything about Sky because she hadn't gotten custody of Sky yet. Not that she was trying. I mean, eventually, had things kept going this way, Leilani would have done something, and then Billie would have had custody of her.
I was looking at the comments. Leah Richards said all addicts are liars. Now, I might have to argue with you a little bit there. I'm a recovering addict, and I know that in my day, I might have told a few things or whatever, but not every addict. You do have some honest addicts out there. I will tell you that much. You do have some honest addicts.
I'd say that's on the slim scale.
Yeah, on the slim.
Say that's
Well-
a very small percentage because, and I'm not painting addicts out to be murderers or even
Yeah.
bad people, but when the addiction's talking, they'll say anything to get what they want.
Right. They will. And I mean, like I said, I've told, I remember that was the problem with me and my kid even. I just couldn't get honest with her. But because I didn't want to face reality that I did have a problem. That was my thing. But kind of a punchline to what I was saying, the first thing I had to say is I am an addict or whatever. Most of the time addicts won't admit they're an addict, but they do have to say they are an addict or a recovering addict. So that's the little punchline to that, I guess.
So
But
you have some that are really honest. Some people are really honest, just saying,
Yeah.
and then some. Well, I would say in this case, we're dealing with a full-blown liar.
Yeah.
We're
A habitual liar and a habitual drug user. I mean, that's proven fact right there because she even tested positive before she left the hospital with the babies. And that right there blows my mind to no end. Because I know here in Missouri, you can't take your baby with you if you have tested positive for even pot. You can't go take them with you.
Well,
So-
that's what I want to know. How did she leave the hospital with Sky? Or did she? Did she leave the hospital with Sky or did she not and then get Sky later? I've heard two different stories.
I'm not sure. I mean, I can look into it or whatever, see what we can find on it or whatever. But
Well, you're
yeah,
not gonna, it's a DFAX record. You're not going to
Yeah.
find anything except Facebook rumors. That's why I said I've heard two different stories.
well, I mean, I might know somebody knows somebody or something like that that can get them records.
God, don't do that. That's illegal as hell.
Well, I understand that, but yeah.
Either way, I mean, at this point, it doesn't matter because Sky is never going to be around LieLazys again.
Right.
Maybe when Sky turns, a certain age, somebody might take her to the jail to visit her mother. She's not even going to have a memory of her mother.
Right.
I don't know that Zayton's even really going to have a memory of his mother.
Better off, to be honest, not knowing her. And I mean, I've lost my children. I've lost my kid before. I mean, I didn't lose defects or nothing like that. But when I had to go do my time or whatever, my daughter's dad, who was never a part of her life, he had to step in and, be a dad or whatever. But there's things that Lexi my daughter, she doesn't remember about some, when she was younger and things like that. And I'm glad because, when you're in active addiction, it's bad, really, really bad. And then to have a child around or whatever, that's way worse. But, yes, I pray them babies don't have no memory of her, honestly.
No, me either. Because once Sky got old enough to do more than just sleep in a crib and wake up to eat, she'd have gotten it too. I think LieLazys would have wound up being harder on her daughter because she is a product of Billie. This toxic relationship and this back and forth between her and Billie, she would have repeated with Sky. There's no doubt in my mind. I don't need a tarot card. I don't need a crystal ball. I don't need a psychic prediction. I don't need a vision. I can tell you between the toxic history that LieLazys had with her mother, she would have damn sure repeated it with Sky. She fast-tracked the toxicity, LieLazys did. Big time. She didn't even wait to go through the hardships, I'm saying that tongue in cheek, that Billie went through. She bypassed all that and just got right to being a terrible, terrible mother.
Mm-hmm.
TLM said drugs are no excuse. Done every drug in the book in the past and would never hurt a child. Nope. There's no excuse. There is no excuse. So I think that the state is getting ahead of it. They know that she said that she was under the influence of a controlled substance. Well, she had been to Aspen Dental. Somebody, Mama B, I believe, asked, how the hell did she afford that? They don't take Medicaid. So I got to look at that. Maybe they do in Georgia.
I think it's different states because they take it in Kentucky and stuff like that up here by me.
Aren't they each independently owned and operated, kind of like a McDonald's franchise?
Yeah, they are.
They're kind of like the Sonic of dentistry.
Wouldn't it be something though if they petition the court for dental records from Aspen and it comes out Leilani didn't have any dental work done there?
I wouldn't be surprised at all. I would not be surprised at all if when it comes time for Billie to produce these secret diaries of LieLazys, she says, and she'll be telling the truth probably for once in her life. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I never saw her with a damn pen in her hand at all.
Right.
I don't know what you're talking about. Notebooks for Leilani? What the hell? If Leilani didn't have any notebooks around here, she didn't have a diary. Would she take the key to jail with her? What are you talking about? A diary? No. And they're going to say, okay, we got to search. And then they go and they search the house and they're like, nope, there's no diary. Then they get this stuff from Aspen Dental and they're like, nope, we sent her home with Tylenol because she's an addict.
Right.
She had drug-seeking behavior. She asked us 50 times for Percocet. We hadn't even got a chance to put a mirror in her mouth.
And Mom Mia put that she didn't think she has a diary, and that's a good point there because whenever they conducted the search on the house looking for Quinton, you would think that, you know, if they had seen something of the sort, they would have went back and got that and or would have taken it that day.
Well, they didn't have a search warrant to get a diary, though.
Oh.
Search warrants are very specific. They had a search warrant for Quinton and anything that could lead them to where Quinton might be. But then again, if she had a diary laying out talking about how much she can't stand being a mother, they might have been like, this is interesting. We might take this with us.
Right.
Nope, you're right. So I don't know. I mean, I just don't see in 2022 this woman who admits to being, you know, an active drug user. I mean, this one lady was talking about how she was always outside of the gas station asking people for spare change and stuff. But yet she has to journal all of her thoughts. I mean, come on. All right. Court TV did have an interesting, and it does seem to all be correct. I was shocked. Thing they put together about where we're at with Leilani. There's some interesting stuff in here, so I was going to go through that with you guys. Hang on one second. This lady, whew, I thought this was Bullhorn Betty for a second, but it's not.
Basically nothing. I mean, they haven't came out, said anything. They hide behind the fence. You know, they just pull out. They don't try to, you know, let us know that they even care. I mean, you know, as a mom, I think that if this happened to me, knock on wood, I would hope that it wouldn't. I would come out and say something, you know, can y'all help me find my kids? You know, but you're not. You're going to Tabby and you're drinking and you're partying. Like, what are you doing? What is going on here? Where's the FBI? Where's Secret Service? Somebody needs to find this baby and lock her up. Lock them all up because the grandma had custody. So if the grandma has custody and she left her with them, she's just as at fault.
Okay. And this is just from a lady standing outside holding a sign. So her defense sees all this. They know that people blame Billie. They're going to find a way to weave Billie in there. I know people say, oh, public defenders don't really try. Oh, yes, they do, because they're not just public defenders. They also have law firms that they work at or their own law office. And, you know, you have to give the same defense to everybody. And especially a high profile case. They don't want to just wing it through it. You know, they still have a reputation to keep up. And if proven that they didn't give somebody a good defense because they are a public defender, they can lose their license. So I think they're going to pull out all the stops on Leilani. Plus, it's free advertising. I'm surprised one of them hasn't been on TV yet touting their law firm's name. I really am. Really interesting. I saw a couple people in here say, I did keep a journal when I was in addiction. I wonder if Leilani ever had to go to, because she was on probation, if she ever had to go to NA meetings or anything like that, where they tell people, keep a journal, write all this out so you can figure out what your triggers are, when you want to use, and it's written down. I wonder if these journals do exist. Yeah. Now that I saw that in there. That's a good point. Man, I love this chat.
What a scene it was down there in Savannah, Georgia, when little baby Quinton went missing. And everyone was wondering, where did this little child go? And who was responsible? Well, now we know who prosecutors believe is responsible. That's little baby Quinton's mom. Julie Janae has the story.
Little Quinton Simon was just 20 months old when he was last seen in his home in Savannah, Georgia on October 5th, 2022. He lived with his mother, LieLazys Simon, her boyfriend, Danny Youngkin, and his grandmother, Billie Jo Howell.
The boyfriend woke up, saw the child at 6 a.m. Mother woke up at some other time later, and they reported the child missing at 9:39, I believe the call came into 911.
Local police and FBI began searching for Quinton that very day.
We have yet to locate little Quinton. We continue to investigate this incident. We got some assistance from the FBI. We got numerous interviews to conduct today, as well as downloading phones and things of that nature.
LieLazys Simon tells police that Quinton's biological father, Henry Bubba Moss, took him, so authorities go to Bubba's home more than an hour away.
He was being questioned about where he was overnight.
Father Henry.
Okay, so we all remember that. That still blows my mind that she wants to claim that the FBI told her she didn't remember anything, yet she had enough wherewithal to blame Bubba. There's Bubba going, the last thing I would do on a Wednesday is go get my kid. I want to talk about Bubba's outfit. He looks like Georgia's Panama Jack.
Bubba Moss took him, so authorities.
What is this? That is some swag. What the hell does Bubba have on there? What the hell does Bubba have on?
Doing the watermelon crawl look.
Woo! Bubba. What the hell you got on, Bubba? Your name's Bubba and you got Tommy Bahama. Bubba Bahama. Look at that. Holy shit.
Bubba shooting the jukebox.
My goodness. My goodness. All right. But there he is. There's Bubba Bahama going, I'm an hour away. I'm mowing my boss's lawn, and I haven't seen my kid since he was in newborn diapers. No, I don't think so. Then she blames Danny. Then she says she was going to meet Misty to get the Oragel, neither of which existed. Then she says, oh, no, I just had to go throw away the trash at 5:30 in the morning. No, no, but she doesn't remember. She remembered enough to make all these stories up because she remembered enough to know she killed Quinton. She had no reason to lie unless she remembered she killed Quinton.
Authorities go to Bubba's home more than an hour away.
He was being questioned about where he was overnight, October 4th into October 5th, and proved to police satisfaction anyway that he had nothing to do with it.
Has there been any contact with Quinton's biological father? We have had contact with him. He's out of that.
After a week of searching for little Quinton, the Chatham County Police confirms everyone's worst fear. Quinton is believed to be dead, and his mother, LieLazys, is the primary suspect, but no charges or arrests are made.
What are you doing? What is going on here? Where's the FBI? Where's Secret Service? Somebody needs to find this baby and lock her up.
After that announcement, all eyes turn to LieLazys. Protesters, podcasters, and YouTubers gather outside of her home day and night. Nearly 3 weeks after Quinton was reported missing, LieLazys and her mother finally speak out in an interview with WTOC News.
If something does come up that I am at fault, I will take myself to that police station.
Then, 47 days after Quinton vanished, law enforcement find remains of a human child in a local landfill, and they arrest LieLazys Simon.
I will take myself. If it does turn out that I have something to do with it, I told my diary, I said, are you there, God? It's me, LieLazys. I'll take myself down to that station. No, no, no. She is sickening. She is just disgusting. We did the show yesterday about Lindsay Clancy outside of Boston. It is said that she suffers from postpartum depression. She threw herself out of the second-story window. It's a horrific situation. I don't want to get into it. I tell you what, my blood pressure was up in my ears. I saw people in the comments about this. She was actively seeking treatment. I'm not going to get into all that. People said, "Oh, but people get mad if you mention Leilani having postpartum depression." Postpartum depression does not make you blame Bubba, Danny, Aspen Dental, Oragel, Misty, and go to the dumpster. Nope, nope, nope.
Our search teams at the waste management landfill found what they believed were human remains. This afternoon, the FBI lab in Quantico, Virginia confirmed that they are, in fact, human remains. Additional testing, including a DNA analysis, is being conducted, and we have every reason to believe that this will confirm the remains are Quinton's.
Simon faces charges of giving a false statement to police, concealing a death, and malice murder.
And you think about this case, and it's so incredibly tragic for little baby Quinton. And you look at those pictures, well, how can anyone, whether you're a stranger, especially like a parent, grandparent, whatever you are, why would anyone even think of bringing harm to that child? Let's bring back in our think tank Michael Sterling, Ann Bremner, Rick King. Rick, seems to me this is a tough one to defend because of the nature of what happened, but there are other people who are in baby Quinton's life.
Yeah, but it seems to me that from the beginning of this case, they've kind of focused on Leilani, and they've kind of stayed the course with it. I think there's probably mounting evidence and a lot of things that we don't know just quite yet. We on Court TV, Vinny, you detail a lot of these cases involving these tragic murders of little kids, and this is just another one in the line of those that are so difficult to report on, difficult to talk about. They've made the arrest of Leilani at this point, and it looks like they have a pretty solid case.
Michael Sterling, this case has taken place in Georgia. That's where you practice most of the time. I know you travel around the country, practice in federal courts everywhere, but what are your thoughts about this case and what this mother is looking at?
Yeah, Vinny, I mean, she's facing, we don't know if prosecutors will pursue the death penalty yet or not. That's obviously on the table in a state like Georgia, where death penalty is available for prosecutors in a case like this. But we know for sure that malice murder carries a maximum punishment of life without the possibility of parole. If she's convicted, the only other possible punishment is life with the possibility of parole, which requires at least a 30-year prison sentence in Georgia before you're eligible. So we know that those are the potential punishments in this case. We also know that her mother's been charged with an unrelated crime, so we don't know to the extent what the police have found out about the mother, who was also living in the home with the 21-year-old Quinton. All around, Vinny, is just...
Okay, so the way he said it, and I'm just going to guess he knows a little bit more than I do. He said, we also know that her mother's been charged. Now, we know that she was charged with contempt. She was in there for 10 days, which I thought was wild that they kept Billie's ass in the clink for 10 days and let her out on December 23rd. I just don't think that contempt is done and over. She's been very quiet since she got out for the contempt, has she not? And that doesn't mean that she doesn't have to pay a fine. There could be, and I still think there's other charges coming. She's not out of the woods for that contempt yet. Whatever the contempt was, she could have stuck her tongue out at the judge. It could be for leaving Leilani with Zane and Quinton. It could be this gag order people are talking about. I don't know. I think it has more to do with leaving her alone with Zane and Quinton. That's just me. But I don't think she's out of the woods with that contempt yet. And I think there's going to be more charges coming for Billie.
You know, it's a devastating case that has really rocked Chatham County and the entire state of Georgia to its core. To see this happen to 21-year-old Quinton, you can sense, you know, around Chatham County and around the state of Georgia that everybody's paying attention to this case, and it's just really rocked Georgia to its core.
And Bremner, you know what I'm thinking about? Young mother charged with the murder of her child. The evidence seems overwhelming, right? But on the other hand, I remember what happened in another case where a grandparent became like the boogeyman of the trial. And it was effective in that one. I think that's where they're going to go here as well. Probably, go after grandma.
Right. And I know we can't name that other mother who was, of course, acquitted. And it worked. I mean, that grandpa was the demon. And, there was a lot of kind of smoke and mirrors in that case. But I think the bottom line is that people don't want to believe a mother can kill their child. And so I think that was part of the equation in the other case in Florida. And sure, they'll try that here. But I watch these women outside of with their signs and everything, find the baby, lock her up. And you wonder, are they reflecting the sentiments of the community? Because it's just so horrific what happened here. So, again, in the other case in Florida, she was acquitted. So we'll have to wait and see.
And some similarities. I mean, you had crowds of people outside that home who were pointing the finger at the mother and the grandparents as well. And that's what played out in the trial.
Absolutely.
All right, take a look, folks. This one is on our docket. Georgia versus LieLazys Simon. We've got a hearing on the 25th of January. Status conference, February 13th. No trial date yet, but my guess is we will have that trial date after the 13th.
I can't wait for the status hearing. Now, the 25th came and gone. The judge wasn't there. There was a substitute judge, and LieLazys waived her right to be at that last hearing. They talked about whether cameras are going to be in the courtroom or not. I did a video about it. Everything is moving along like it's supposed to. Lady Justice is holding the reins now. Billie's lies. Billie talking about swimming pools and bathtubs. All of that's a thing of the past. It is all about evidence, evidence, evidence now, and there's nothing she can do. Snazzy, thank you so much. I'm blushing up here. Snazzy said, I hope that she was forced to hand over her phone when the contempt charges came down. Me too. The text between Billie and her friend could make good evidence of interfering with an investigation. I thought about that myself. Big time. My mind goes all over the place, my untrained legal mind, of what all they can charge Billie with. They know that the tax-paying citizens of Savannah, Georgia have a huge contempt for Billie. They already know that people say DFAX is a failure. That's a common sentiment, not just in Savannah, Georgia, but everywhere. What all could they charge old Billie with? She was hindering the investigation. I believe that 100%. I believe Billie was hindering the investigation. What do you think, Boot Heel?
I feel like, she did have a hindrance on it. And I apologize I had a phone call come in, so I had to step away for a second. But I do feel like she was a hindrance, and she continues to be a hindrance, in my opinion, as long as she's out on the streets where she can do things for LieLazys and certain, things like that to help her try to cover up something that she can't cover up.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's what I feel like.
Let's see what UFC has to say. Hey, UFC.
Long time no see.
Well, we missed you, my friend. So what do you think about this? Do you think Billie's going to wind up getting charges?
She definitely should get some charges. You can't say that girl was living with her for 6 months or 3 months before she got charged and not knowing what's going on. She knew the whole time, man. She was in it with it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and also, I mean, she had permanent guardianship. She had legal guardianship. She had custody.
And that's the main thing. She allowed the daughter to watch the kid by herself. And right there, it's against court orders. There's got to be some kind of charge. It has to be. Definitely.
We have
she made that call.
Well, and we just have a snippet of what was in the court document from October 12th. It said she knew or should have known that LieLazys was unfit before she traveled out of state. It said she did not provide adequate supervision. She knew.
She knew that right away when she filed the eviction order. She stated it herself. stated she was on drugs. She's uncontrollable right there.
Right.
She knew right there. She, in her own writing, with her signature, she stated in a written statement that's legal, legal statement, that she was unfit to watch the kid. Right there's enough. I think she should be charged with accessory to murder, to be honest. But that's just me.
Exactly.
Let's take a poll. Does anybody think that Billie should be charged as not just endangerment, but accessory?
Accessory.
I think so too, man. I really do. It's negligence. It's accessory. I mean, everything. And then she's partying with her, knowing it's her last run. You know what I'm saying? That party right there shows me she knew it was her last run.
Yep.
Because it says right here, DFACS found that she had failed to provide adequate supervision and the children had since been placed in foster care. She lost all rights to Zane. She was his permanent guardian, legal guardian, had custody, and they ripped Billie of that on October 12th because they said she failed to provide adequate supervision. Now, most people would say, well, what's wrong with her daughter watching her own child? Her daughter lost her rights, I guess. I'm just going to say it like that, because she is, as they said, unfit. Billie knew or should have known. Billie knew that the state of Georgia was involved for some reason, but she lies and she lies and she lies and says, "Oh no, that was just an agreement between me and LieLazys." No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
It was a court document. It ain't just an agreement. It's a filed court document in the state of Georgia that proves she was unfit.
Here comes Britt spitting the facts. If they can charge both guardians in the Athena case, then this is no difference. Not only are they charging both guardians, neither of them had legal, permanent, or any sort of black and white custody of Athena, and they still got them both. Of course, Ivan, they think he murdered her, but I mean, if you think about the other person that was in the house, Alicia, there was no legal binding agreement, and she's still charged with neglect. So why can't you do it with Billie? Granted, it's a different state. I think they're going to get her.
And that's why I think it's a little bigger than neglect, because that legal document, her filing the for the kids to be booted out. I mean, for her to be booted out of the house, evicted, she willingly knew what was going on at the house, plain and simple. And you left the kid alone. I mean, that's enough for at least neglect. I mean, that's easy neglect. You don't even need a jury for that, dude. It should be automatic conviction.
Right.
Then she made up that. Then even this is the thing. This is how nasty Billie is. Even after they find little Quinton Simon in the landfill, they have a press conference and announce to everyone, "We found little Quinton Simon. We have arrested LieLazys." She still continued her lies. She said she was helping out the FBI. She went and got LieLazys out of rehab, took her to the FBI after she took her to the China King, then took her to the FBI and said, "This is where I leave you," and gave her a big hug. I'm sure as the sun was going down behind them, the whole 9 yards. None of that happened because the neighbors talked to WSAV and said they knew something was going on at the house because they saw all the police. Why were the police at the house if Billie was helping the FBI and going and saving them some fuel by picking her up at the rehab? The FBI can get you wherever you're at. It doesn't matter. She lied again. She continued lying, even in the face of such grim reality. "This is where I leave you." After you go and have egg drop soup, lying bitch.
Her not searching for the kid shows it right there.
I wonder how Billie Dodo felt whenever she was arrested and put in jail. I mean, I wonder if she was reminiscing and talking through the toilet about the egg drop soup then to LieLazys. I do. I wonder. Yeah.
I just think that her not searching, not even looking for the kid, she's out partying. You can't tell me you didn't know the kid was dead already. My ass would have been in the car every day looking for that kid until he was found. If I had no clue, she had knowledge, prior knowledge. It makes it accessory to murder.
You mean Billie? Billie not out searching?
Yeah.
Yeah, Billie. If Billie really didn't know the kid was killed, why wasn't she out searching?
Yeah, exactly. Jen Bug said she didn't search because she knew. She didn't search because she knew. I mean, wouldn't a grandparent be searching for their child? That's odd. I still think that the only reason her and Thomas, not so much Thomas, but Billie, wanted to speak to the news is because Diana had spoke to the news and they wanted to try to correct what was put out there. You can't correct it because what Diana said was the truth.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
Well, that's pretty much all I've got, unless you guys want a positive, feel-good story before I shut it down. This storm here is getting worse, and my husband went and got the ice off the car. Not that it's going to matter, but so I'm going to start shutting it down. You guys want a positive, feel-good story before I do it?
Yeah, give us a positive, feel-good story. I need one anyway. I'm going to jump down, Brooks, and it was great being on panel with you, and I'll see you in Discord.
All right. Sam said yes. Indie Girl said yes. Okay. Well, it's loading or trying to load. It may or may not load. I don't know. Just Me said hold your children accountable when they're small. I kind of wonder, I heard that there was like 9 years that Billie didn't have custody of her children. So it's no wonder that this happened. Of course, this is a totally different outcome. I mean, this is as what's the word I'm looking for? This is as severe as it gets. Unicorn. Oh, it says Indiana. The ice is heading your way. It is heading your way. Thank you, Izzy. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I heard like 9 years. And here's the thing. This is just what I think. This is just an opinion. I think when Billie got the kids back, Billie couldn't parent them. They all knew that Billie had lost custody. I think that she partied with her kids. I think she did drugs with her kids. I think she drank with her kids. I think she was a friend to her kids because she couldn't parent them at that point. There's just no way. There's just no way. How could she? Then she's crying and screaming, why did God give me 2 murderers? She made that whole toxic environment. That whole toxic environment. And she's going to pay for it for the rest of her life. I still think that she is going to get charged. Let's have some positivity before I shut it down. There's your positivity. Vicky said I'm from Cincinnati. Vicky, it's all in good fun, my friend. It's all in good fun. Don't think I wasn't a hurting unit last year when the Bengals beat us at the end. Jen 405, thank you so much for the super sticker. I know, I love that they're calling it the Kelsey Bowl. Cracks me up. I couldn't imagine being their mamas. I couldn't imagine because, you're cheering for both. There it is. You got Jason Kels. You got Travis Kelce going to the Super Bowl. I tell you what, if I was that mom, I'd be rubbing it in everyone's faces. If my friends hated me before, they would really hate me now because I wouldn't let them live it down. I'd be like, did you hear what my sons are doing? Don't ask me what I'm doing on Super Bowl Sunday. I'm so torn. I've got, both of my sons are playing. Both of my sons are playing. Yeah, I would be rubbing it in. Thunderski said, get your sandwiches ordered now. Exactly. Going to take you 5 hours to get a pizza that day. Got to start getting our menus and everything together. Exactly. All right, guys, I am winding it down. That's all I got. That's all I've got. I still want to know what's going on with the journals. Love to hear LieLazys' most intimate thoughts. I have a feeling they're either dark and disturbed or just dumb AF. Nothing with this family surprises me. They make me sick. But as we do on this channel, we follow every case to the very end. Keep your eye on what's going on in Ohio. Today, they are doing the autopsy on one of the little boys, one of the little babies that passed away over the weekend. I put the video up this morning. Really want to know what's really going on there. People get real heated about it. They get real heated. They're like, leave it alone. Leave it alone. You're being too insensitive. I'm not being insensitive. I want to know what happened to the little baby. We're going to find out. All right, you guys, have a great rest of your day. If you're in this ice storm, be prepared. You might be without electricity sometime throughout this. It's bad. If all goes well and I have electricity and I'm not a popsicle myself, I'll be back here tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning. Mod Squad, thank you as always. You guys are the best. Can't do it without you guys. I'll see you back here. Don't worry. I'll see you.